We have a lot to talk about. You're not going to want to miss this. So the White House has just released brand new PPP guidelines. They are totally changing everything about the Paycheck Protection Program. Now, to be clear, that means that more people are going to have access to more money. And yes, this is a loan, but it is a forgivable loan, basically a grant from the government geared towards small business owners, the self-employed, we're talking gig workers, and anyone else who has any sort of side hustle and earns money and files it on their taxes in the form of a Schedule C. I'm going to share with you the answers you need to know and the most important things to consider about your money. All right, real quick, and before we dive in, don't forget to like this video. It really helps get the word out there, and lots of people need to hear about this. So you heard right. If you can't tell, I'm excited about this because it changes everything we've been talking about since last spring about this Paycheck Protection Program. It has been a bit of a mess, essentially a nightmare for people who were unfamiliar with how to apply, what forms they had to upload, and then even going so far as to apply for a second round of funding, but still worried about the forgiveness for the first round. So this video is going to specifically talk to the self-employed, sole proprietors, independent contractors, gig workers, those that file a Schedule C on their taxes. So here's the latest updates. I have them right here. The SBA is revising the formula used to calculate your maximum loan amount. Now, this is a game changer because it's going to allow you to actually use your gross income on your Schedule C. That is a big change. So we're talking about line 7. That's all the money that you've earned before you take any of your tax deductions. So no longer do you have to worry about that line 31. Instead, you're going to end up using line 7. Now, I'm going to include a link down below to a brand new gross income PPP loan calculator. You can type in that line 7, see what your possible loan is going to be, and if you think it's worthwhile for you to apply. I'm going to tell you right now, I think everybody should apply. The list of small business owners going through my mind are people that have been overlooked until right now. Think of like the house cleaners, Uber and Lyft drivers, artists, actors, people that are DJs. These are people who typically get paid out in cash or sent a 1099. And when you report that income, that gross income on your taxes, you're now going to be allowed to use that number to get one of these forgivable loans. The next exciting change is that there is going to be an exclusive period for small business owners to apply who have less than 20 employees. Now, that's only going to last for a few weeks, but if that's you, you're going to want to get any documentation ready, like a PDF of that Schedule C, so you can upload it. And keep in mind that you can apply through any lender. So if you want to make a quick call to that community lender, or if you have a bank that you like working with, see if they're taking, give them a call and see if they're taking PPP loan applications. And I've partnered with the good people at Womply who are trying to fast track these applications. They actually have a new portal that is open. It is incredible. It's the best thing I've seen, where it's essentially automates your application, your promissory note, that second draw application. So I will get into that more later in this video. If you're thinking right now that this is too good to be true, maybe you're asking yourself why you would want a loan, remember that this is a forgivable loan, essentially a grant. And I've dug into a little bit of the research, and Congress wants to reach the smallest businesses, but it actually hasn't so far. The SBA is still slow to process all of these loans. They're trying to make sure that people aren't committing fraud. And another thing to consider is that there are still over 40 million different small businesses that have 0 employees that have not yet even applied for their first PPP loan. So this new rule, these new terms, they are directed at you. So how much money are we actually talking about? You could get anywhere from a few $1,000s up to over $20,000. And that's just not once, that's actually twice. And for those of you who have already applied, I will talk about what this means for you in just a moment. All right, so first, for those of you who have never applied before, you are going to be able to use this new PPP Fast Lane, and I'll leave a link down below in the description. There are a couple of requirements, like you're going to need that 2019 Schedule C. Many people don't have the 2020 yet. If you do, you'll probably be able to use that at some point in the near future. You're also going to need to know that loan amount. That calculator I mentioned before will help you calculate that, but they actually do that along the way in the application process as well. The other thing is that you're going to need to be able to connect a bank account, and I'll leave a link down below to SoFi Bank. They actually give you $50 free when you open an account. It takes like 2 minutes and you get a brand new bank account number and routing number. I suggest that. It's not necessary, but I suggest that to help keep this documentation of you getting the money and using the money crystal clear. It's not going to be muddied with any other funds that you have, personal or business. What you should find once you gather those documents is that the application process is very automated. It's designed to have less fraud and also to simply email you what you need and give it to the SBA. Now, of course, they're still taking up to 10 days, up to a couple of weeks, and then the lenders have to get you the money. But sooner than later, once those funds are deposited, they're yours to use as payroll, aka paying yourself. I promise that I will make an updated video as those final interim rules come out. But let's move on to those of you who have already applied for PPP 1 or even PPP 2. This is where seemingly there is a little bit of bad news. Unfortunately, it doesn't appear that anything is going to be made retroactive at this point in time. Meaning that if you got a small PPP loan the first time around, maybe you're thinking it's not even worth it to apply for the second time around, or maybe you didn't have that 25% loss, or maybe you're just too fed up or confused. Whatever the case may be, you are not going to be able to use right now that fast lane application that I mentioned to help streamline the process. Now, I'm sorry about that, but I do think and hope that maybe things will open up in the future for you. And to be clear, the SBA is hinting that it is not going to retroactively give you more money for the first draw PPP, or let's say that second draw, based on this new calculation of using gross income. How is that fair to people who played by the rules and were on top of their finances since spring of 2020? Well, it isn't. So key takeaways. Number one, more people should apply for their first PPP loan. If you have that 2019 Schedule C where you claim some income and expenses, you now are going to be able to get a much larger forgivable loan. Number two, there is a new fast lane application that takes about 5 minutes to apply. It is almost automated in the way that it should have been all along. It just took the good people at Womply to step up and create something like this. And my final takeaway is to just stay hopeful and positive. This is some of the biggest news that we have heard since they said that you could use all the PPP funds to pay yourself, and since the announcement of the original PPP program. I will keep you up to date on this channel on how to apply using that Fastlane application, so stay tuned for that video. And as the new rules roll out, I will make videos and post them both on YouTube and on my website so that we can stay on top of this thing together. If you're new to the channel, please hit subscribe and ring that notification bell. All right, as always, I'm Rich, and until next time.